Hello YouTube, hi, my name is Mark and this is Nixon Motorsports. Hey, if you're new to this channel, we're all about motorsports, from racing to exotic cars and even simulators. Hey, so today's video, this is about aerodynamics for high-speed racetracks. We're here at Circuit of the Americas for some testing, and if you remember the main topic of preparing the race car for high-speed racetracks, right? Again, I'll remind you of 4 topics. So the first is engine, power, aerodynamics, rolling resistance, and the fourth of just, chassis and tuning itself. All of these play into optimizing the race car for high-speed racetracks. Today, though, the focus will be on aerodynamics, wings primarily, but rake and a few other things on the car. And I thought you might enjoy that, so let's get on track. Let me bring you along. Let's see what this can do. So I went out on the track, just a couple laps. The first session on track, just a couple little minor gremlins, no big deal. The car's totally fine. Took care of that when we came in, but I only did really a lap and a half. Took care of that. The car's ready now, and so we'll be out in about, I think, 20-25 minutes. Weather's warming. Track surface should be quite nice. So anyway, no report on the balance or anything yet and what changes we're going to do. This next session will be really our first kind of baseline session, right? So let's get back in this thing and get on the track. Well, we're wrapping up for day one, doing a little bit of prep work for tomorrow. You can see Jeff's down here doing something very important. He looks so serious. I'm not sure if it's he's focused or if it's he's tired, he's ready for food. Maybe a little bit of both. Yeah.
Just a bit of both.
Bit of both, yeah. We had a few little gremlins today, you know, stuff happens, but we made progress, so it was a pretty good day. The balance of the car, surprisingly, was really, really good. We had some braking things that we had to deal with. Again, a couple little things that set us back today on some of the testing, but not a big deal in general. I can tell you, absolutely, our top speed is definitely up there. It improved a lot. I'll have to stare at some data we haven't downloaded yet. I think I did get probably very close, if not 150 some miles an hour down the back straight. So the car is responding. The free rolling, you know, the resistance, the rolling resistance focus, I think definitely helped actually. You know, just rolling it around in the pits, you know, it's kind of a one finger thing. You just push it anywhere, which is pretty cool. But the car's working well. So tomorrow we're going to spend some time on trimming out the car a little bit more yet, and then start to lean on it to see, you know, what are we losing, the trade-offs in corner speeds, that kind of thing. So that will be kind of fun. So we have a lot of work on that end of it. But in general, the car is working very, very well. So I'll bring you back in the morning. We'll give you an update what we're doing at that point after we digest it over the evening, but should be fun, okay? All right, so day two here at Circuit of the Americas. Look at this weather. It's fantastic. Couldn't ask for a better test day for sure. So we ran this morning just a couple laps. Track was pretty cold. We just wanted to get a read on the car. Quite a few changes again yesterday that we have to take care of. But today, what's interesting, let me talk about some of the focus on aerodynamics and the testing that we're doing, right? So if I roll back to the car, so first thing this morning, we're trimming out the car, right? We want to see what it does, balance and top speed and such. So in the upper element, we put on the low downforce setting this morning. Now we're going to go out next run, and you can see, or maybe you can't, but there should be another wing element here along the top of this upper. We took that off. We want to see if it's very draggy. It's not a big downforce add, but we're doing that based on our aerodynamicist and his opinion what we should be testing. So it's simply a test run. I might not like it, but we're going to go out and do that next. So that's part of what you have to do in testing if you don't have a wind tunnel, of course, right? So focusing on the rear, as I just mentioned, we'll see what kind of data we collect on that. From there, we'll probably turn to the front a little bit more. We might play with our front main plane, see what we can do on that. The flaps are already actually pretty low, but we're going to play with those. And then on top of that, possibly some ride height or rake on the car if we need a fine-tuning piece. But that's up next. Now, I can tell you, from an aero point of view, you know, combination of a lot of things we're doing, right? Rolling resistance, you know, gearing, etc. But our top speeds have improved quite a bit. Cornering is the balance that we need to address, but we're close to about 150, just a shade under it, and so we're trying to back into that, of course, in testing today. So we're not really working on lap times per se. We're working on top speed, and then trade off with corners, mid corners, that type of thing. so we came back in with our Aero test. We went out a moment ago. We had this upper element off the rear, and we had the upper main at a slightly more positive angle than this. So it was a test. What's it going to do in speed? We did gain about 1 mile an hour, I think it was roughly top speed. But the car for sure was nervous in corners, a couple of the high-speed corners, the S's here, and the carousel on the backside. So it definitely made a difference. I would say in proper tune, at least for this track, we probably overstepped it. So what we're doing now, again, back to just kind of a test and trial with Aero, combination of downforce and drag. We moved the wing back to kind of a medium downforce setup, and we ran this, many times in the past. But we did that, and then we're adding just a touch of front flap this time, and we're going to go out. Look, temperature's climbing just a little bit. We want to see what it does at corner speeds a little bit, see if it comes back. You need a good, strong cornering car here at COTA to be fast. So that's what we're doing next. So let's get in this thing and see what it does. Back at the garage from COTA, and I wanted to talk to you about just a basic summary of what we found in our Aero testing at Circuit of the Americas. Trying to get the race car trimmed, to extract the most speed possible. It's kind of fun. Obviously, look, it's always a balance, right? Whether it's a high-speed racetrack or it's a medium or low-speed track, it's always about a balance to not sacrifice too much of your speed down straightaways, but to keep your cornering capability and so on. And so everyone will pick where they want their race car to be more dominant. It depends on the field, where you're going to overtake or attempt to, whatever your strategy may be, and so on. But kind of a quick summary on what we found. So the Circuit of the Americas, I think it was a good test. Now, we did not have enough segments or physical test time, to be honest with you. So we only focused on the rear of the car. We focused primarily on the upper elements, both single and the secondary element of the rear wing, and the lower main plane slightly. We did not focus on the front, which you'll have to do, right? And it was simply a lack of track time. But what we found was clearly, as you trim, as you remove downforce, you will gain some speed because the amount of drag is reduced, right? And so we did that. And we saw, for an example, the upper dual element, just removing the secondary part of the upper element. We did gain about 1 mile an hour on that. Not a lot, but we wanted to systematically move through the extremes to find where limits are, how it behaves, and so on. Now, we did not take the time to try to balance the car, right? As far as you make a big step on the rear might move in one direction, and you would have to compensate with the right height or the front wings and so on. We did not do that. We were simply making one change at a time, just to try to record and document what that is. So interesting. We have a lot more work to go though. So our plan is to use our home track over the next couple months. This will continue probably in through spring, the aero testing itself, because we need to roll on track. We need to do multiple different runs where we're sweeping through the various extremes, right? From main planes to flaps to ride heights to all of that. And we'll be doing that, like I said, through spring of next year. Now, some thoughts, of course, are it might be a lot quicker and a lot less costly just to find a really good wind tunnel and a good aerodynamicist and spend a few days there, which may be still something of interest. In speaking with the aerodynamicist that we work with, he really wants a wind tunnel that has a moving floor, so it's not static, and apparently that is a little harder to come by. So if anybody knows of one that's preferably central US would be ideal, but if anyone knows of one, let me know. But our plan, again, back to Aero, will be to continue to develop, test, record, and measure the different extremes of wing angles, floor, diffuser, ride heights, all of those things, and before we are then racing at the next high-speed track. Does that make sense? All right, so I thought I would share this with you. At the racetrack, we hired a professional photographer just to take some shots, right? Look, this is not new. Everybody does that all the time. The photographer we hired had equipment and knowledge and ability to take extremely high resolution, very, very good photos at a distance. And what we saw was actually interesting. So we saw with some of the photos that came in a problem, and we had not seen that before, which I thought was interesting. And the problem was, and let me just pan over here and look. If you look at our rear wing, a dual element, right? And you see this upper element here, and as I touch it with my hand and apply pressure and push, it moves, but not very much. It's actually pretty stout. That upper wing, that secondary element there, is collapsing at speed. So we saw that in video. This thing actually just collapses and the rear wing stalls. And interesting, it's been doing that for the last, oh gosh, a year and a half or more. So I'm only sharing, so digital, really high quality photography on track, just to get a different view of the race car is good. Now, a lot of people put video on their race cars, which, as you know, I do as well. But the other thing that I saw with a really good photographer, I saw the race car as it's moving into various different corners, where you're able to see kind of the attitude of the car, balance, front to rear. You can dissect so much. So I'm only saying and encouraging you, it's worth the money to spend to have really good, not distance stuff, but super high fidelity photography when you're on track and you're trying to extract the most out of it. Now, I am going to add more video on my race car. I've always been focused just forward based on that and learning that, I'll probably put a rear-facing camera to record, not necessarily to see who's behind me, but to see how the race car is working. And I might even do that towards the front for the same purpose, right? So anyway, I thought I would share that. It's actually, it was an aha moment for us. Right, so again, back to the additional testing that we'll be doing. We're going to focus on, as I talked about earlier, you know, the extremes and measuring both, you know, front and rear wings, their flaps, all that kind of stuff. We're also going to focus a fair amount on our tire kickers, our floor itself, our barge boards, their effect, kind of the floor profile, our diffuser. You know, we're going to spend a lot of time on that as well. It's all part of the overall aero for the race car, right? So a lot of work ahead of us. You'll see more content on this topic, of course. But that's it for now. So I wanted to thank you for watching. I wanted to thank you for the comments. And, you know, keep those coming. Lots of stuff going on. Lots of content. You know, the two big themes that I'm focused on, outside of just continuous working on the car, but how to get started in racing. There'll be a dozen or more videos just on that. For many of you who are asking, stay tuned, right? The second big topic, you know, is preparing your race car for high-speed racetracks, right? So, you know, engine, aero, rolling resistance, chassis setup, that type of thing. So, lots of stuff. But until next time, ciao.